For more than a decade, people around the world watched in stunned silence as one of Hollywood's most famous dads slowly slipped further and further away from his only daughter. And now, that silence has finally cracked open. The truth behind their distance feels heavier than anyone ever expected. Suri Knoll, once known publicly as Suri Cruise, grew up under a spotlight she never asked for. From the moment she was born, her name was known everywhere, even when she wished it wasn't. She came into the world famous, raised behind guarded doors, and separated from her father by forces way too big for any young person to fully understand. Now at 19, she's sending messages not through interviews or statements, but through her choices. And those choices are loud enough to shake everyone who remembers that picture-perfect family smiling down red carpets like a Hollywood dream come to life. This is the real story of a daughter who grew up watching her father from a distance, and a father who slowly realized his daughter was slipping out of his everyday world. It's a story that feels almost scripted, dramatic, glossy, and heartbreaking all at once. Everything began like a blockbuster romance when Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes crossed paths back in 2005. Their connection exploded across headlines before the relationship even had a chance to breathe. The media couldn't look away. Fans were obsessed, and the world watched as their lives turned into a real-life movie with twists nobody saw coming. Katie, just 26 at the time, walked into this story glowing from her Dawson's Creek success, a rising actress with a soft charm and that fresh dream chaser energy people loved. Tom, already 43, was an international powerhouse, carrying Top Gun, Jerry Maguire, and Mission Impossible on his back like nothing. He was the type of star whose name alone could fill theaters across the globe. For Katie, this wasn't some casual Hollywood crush. Years earlier, she had told 17 magazine that her dream was to marry Tom Cruise. It sounded sweet, almost like something you say just for fun, never imagining it could jump from fantasy to real life. But when Tom saw her for the very first time, he reportedly turned to his team and said, "I'm going to marry her." And from that moment on, everything moved at lightning speed. Within just weeks, what once felt impossible suddenly became real. Their chemistry was so intense it practically created its own spotlight, and their romance blew up fast. Cameras caught them strolling through Rome, fingers intertwined, laughing like they were living in their own private universe, completely unbothered by the swarm of people watching them. Even the normally guarded Tom Cruise seemed transformed. Fans saw a version of him who looked absolutely swept away by emotion, almost surprised by his own happiness. Their connection didn't just sparkle, it exploded, and the world couldn't help but stare. Then came the moment that made the entire world stop and stare. Tom Cruise on the Oprah Winfrey Show, jumping on the couch and shouting, "I'm in love." It became one of the most unforgettable pop culture moments ever. Some people thought it was adorable. Others whispered that it felt a little unusual. But one thing was clear, nobody could ignore it. And soon after that headline-shaking moment, everything changed again. On April 18, 2006, their daughter Suri was born, a baby who instantly became the face of their whirlwind love story. Tom called her birth the happiest day of his life and repeatedly described her as a miracle. But even that deeply personal moment was shaped by the belief system that guided his world, Scientology. Katie, who grew up attending Catholic school in Toledo, suddenly found herself inside a completely different world. Her pregnancy and Suri's birth followed Scientology customs, including the silent birth, where everyone in the delivery room remained quiet during labor. For outsiders, it sounded intense. For Katie, it was a major shift. But for Tom, this was his way of showing love, protection, and devotion to his growing family. Tom even purchased his own sonogram machine so he could follow the pregnancy from home. Some people thought it felt unusual or overwhelming, while others saw it as a father trying to be hyper-present and involved.
Either way, it became one more detail that made this story unlike anything Hollywood had seen. Their wedding that November looked like something straight out of a royal fairy tale. Held inside the 15th century Ottoscelci castle in Italy, surrounded by stars, luxury, and a price tag that made the tabloids explode. It was the kind of event that looked flawless from the outside, but the perfect image was already starting to crack. The wedding reportedly cost over $3 million, a full royal-level production. Katie wore a custom Giorgio Armani gown. Tom was glowing with pride, and the guest list looked like a Hollywood Hall of Fame. Jennifer Lopez, Will Smith, the Beckhams, and more. The photos showed nothing but glamour and perfect smiles. But behind those polished moments, things weren't nearly as simple. Katie's parents, devoted lifelong Catholics, were quietly uneasy. They loved their daughter and granddaughter deeply, but they didn't fully understand the new world Katie had stepped into. A world shaped by intense privacy, strict beliefs, and powerful systems they had never encountered before. And just as they feared, the fairy tale shine didn't last long. Life inside that circle became more controlled, more secluded, and heavily shaped by expectations Katie hadn't grown up with. Tom believed every part of this lifestyle was rooted in devotion and love. But for Katie, the walls around her began to feel less like protection and more like isolation. And for Siri, this marked the beginning of a childhood lived far from anything close to ordinary. A life shaped by extreme attention from the public and intense privacy behind closed doors. By 2007, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes still looked untouchable from the outside, the ultimate Hollywood power couple. Red carpets, private jets, magazine covers, everything appeared perfect. But behind those polished moments, the cracks were already forming, quietly and steadily. The world had no idea what was about to unfold next, and the truth would shock everyone watching from the outside.
From the outside, they still looked flawless. The superstar actor, his glowing wife, and their picture-perfect daughter. But behind that polished image, something in their world was beginning to shift, even if the cameras never caught it. Friends started noticing small details that didn't make the tabloids. Katie almost never went anywhere alone. Whenever she stepped out, someone from Tom's close circle, often connected to Scientology, was right beside her, moving with quiet, controlled precision like shadows that never drifted far. Even during the simplest outings, she was surrounded by calm, watchful faces who seemed to track every tiny move she made. People close to her could feel the tension, even when Katie tried to act relaxed. One evening over dinner, journalist Maureen Orth witnessed something that stayed with her. Fans approached their table, and Katie offered a polite smile before saying something that made Orth stop cold. "Oh, we don't go outside very much." The word sounded casual, but to anyone who understood the structure around her, they hinted at a life that had become extremely restricted. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, controlled, the kind of pressure that doesn't show up in photographs, but changes a person slowly from the inside. Meanwhile, Tom remained the same intense presence he had always been, confident, polished, and deeply committed to his beliefs. His dedication to Scientology only grew stronger, and he became one of the organization's most visible supporters, promoting their celebrity center and defending the group with unwavering conviction. Anytime critics stepped forward, Tom pushed back with full force. To him, the church wasn't just a belief system, it was structure, discipline, and purpose, the backbone of how he lived. But for Katie, those same walls felt like lines she could never safely cross. What gave Tom certainty started to feel like pressure closing in around her. Her parents, Martin and Kathleen Holmes, watched everything from the outside with growing worry. As committed Catholics, they had always felt uneasy about the secretive structure shaping their daughter's life. Over time, their visits became less frequent, not because they didn't care, but because they weren't sure how to reach her through the distance forming around her.
Friends began noticing changes too. Katie didn't seem as open or relaxed as she once was. Conversations felt rehearsed, almost like she was reading from an emotional script. She repeated the same lines again and again. "He's amazing, he's wonderful," as if she was trying to reassure herself as much as everyone else. The bright spark that once made her shine started to dim, slowly and quietly. Meanwhile, Tom's older children, with Nicole Kidman, Bella, and Connor, were already deeply committed Scientologists. They were fully rooted in the faith and embraced it with confidence. So for Tom, it felt completely natural that his youngest child would eventually grow up within the same belief system. But Katie wasn't ready to hand over that level of control when it came to her daughter's future, especially when she still felt she didn't fully understand the structure guiding Tom's world. The more she tried to make sense of it, the more she realized how far she had drifted from the life she once imagined. So Katie started pulling back, slowly, quietly, and very carefully. By 2010, whispers began floating through Hollywood that she felt boxed in. She skipped certain church events, reconnected with old friends she hadn't seen in years, and began spending more and more time in New York, far from Tom's tight routine. But behind the scenes, she wasn't drifting aimlessly. She was planning, gathering info, and preparing for something she absolutely could not mess up. By 2011, the cracks were too big to hide. Katie's public smiles looked tighter, her movements more cautious, and everyone who once saw a fairy tale could now sense a woman trying hard to hold herself together. And every time she held her daughter's hand a little tighter, she was already building her escape route, a route that would flip Hollywood upside down and shatter the picture-perfect image people thought they knew. Then came June 29, 2012, the day Hollywood went silent. News dropped that Katie Holmes had filed divorce from Tom Cruise, and the timing was ice cold, hitting just days before his 50th birthday. But this wasn't just a breakup. This was strategy, protection, and pure survival. Katie moved with precision, like someone who had rehearsed every step in secret. She switched out her phones, hired brand new security, and replaced staff she suspected were reporting back to church handlers. Every step she took was planned like a covert mission, mapped out with precision. Her father, Martin Holmes, a sharp lawyer with a serious strategic mind, became the silent architect behind her escape. He had helped design the prenup years earlier, and now he used that same document to carve out her exit route piece by piece. Katie chose New York as her legal battleground because she knew the custody laws there leaned toward the parent fighting to protect their child's future. She filed every document in absolute secrecy. No leaks, no warnings, no mistakes. Meanwhile, Tom was in Iceland filming Oblivion, completely unaware of what was coming. He found out about the divorce the exact same way the rest of the world did, through the headlines blasting across every news outlet. For a man known for keeping tight control over every detail of his life, this moment hit like a shockwave. When court documents later surfaced, her motive became crystal clear. Protection, not drama, not revenge, pure protection. And once the public saw that truth, everything about their story shifted. It forced the world to reevaluate what had been happening behind the scenes all those years, revealing a reality far more complicated than anyone imagined.
Katie wanted full custody of her daughter, full say over schooling, medical choices, and especially her spiritual direction. Her fear wasn't aimed at Tom as a person, but at the powerful structure surrounding him. Former Scientologists later claimed Katie believed her daughter might eventually be pushed toward the organization's strict Sea Org program when she got older, and that was a future she simply refused to gamble with. The legal battle ended almost as fast as it started. Within 11 days, everything was done and sealed. Tom agreed to pay around $400,000 a year in child support until she reached adulthood, plus extra coverage for schooling and health insurance. But money was never what Katie was fighting for, not even close. What she wanted, what she needed, was distance. Legal distance, physical distance, spiritual distance. She wasn't trying to win a payout. She was trying to build a safe, separate life for herself and her daughter, far from the system she didn't feel she could navigate. And the moment the settlement was signed, Katie moved like a whisper in the dark. The very next day, she and her daughter vanished from Los Angeles, gone like smoke in the wind. When photographers eventually caught sight of them again, it wasn't in a gated mansion or a guarded compound. They were walking quietly through Chelsea in New York City, hand in hand, no security detail, no handlers hovering behind them, just two people finally breathing on their own terms. Katie looked worn out, like someone who had been holding her breath for years. But something in her face had shifted. She finally looked free. She even smiled, a real natural smile, the kind people hadn't seen from her in a long time. And for her daughter, that new chapter came with one thing Katie had fought so hard to secure: distance. Clean, protective distance. The father who once carried her on red carpets and called her his miracle was suddenly gone. Not in anger, not in a public fight, just gone. And in that strange, quiet space, a brand new life began. One that no studio, no organization, and no Hollywood machine could control anymore. After the divorce, Tom's world and his daughter's world split cleanly into two separate paths. In 2013, during a rare deposition tied to a lawsuit, lawyers didn't hold back. They asked the hard question straight up. Did Katie leave to protect her daughter from Scientology? Tom pushed back, calling the question offensive. But then, he admitted it was true as one of the assertions. It was the closest he had ever come to acknowledging the real divide between them. Reports from that same year said Tom had seen his daughter only once after the divorce, a short private visit. After that, no photos, no confirmed meetups, no sightings, nothing at all. In the years that followed, Tom poured every ounce of himself into his career. More Mission Impossible films, the long-awaited Top Gun sequel, worldwide tours, stunts that looked wilder and more unreal every single year. Fans screamed every time he clung to a plane, jumped off cliffs, or raced through danger like it was nothing. But somewhere far from those bright lights, another story was unfolding. One without explosions or spotlights. A daughter growing up without him, a father drifting into the distance, and a silence between them that only grew heavier with time. His daughter was growing up without him, while Katie quietly built a steady, grounded life in New York, the opposite of Hollywood chaos. She enrolled her in a private Manhattan school, took her to local parks, neighborhood cafes, and dance classes, simple routines that helped her grow up with a sense of normalcy that most kids in her position never get. Friends said she was bright, warm, and surprisingly down-to-earth for someone born into such a public world. Katie kept her protected from the spotlight. No red carpets, no staged photo ops, no flashing cameras. As the years passed, she grew into a near mirror image of her mother. The same eyes, the same soft smile, and that same quiet strength that made her who she is. But whenever her father's name came up in conversation, she simply shifted the topic and kept moving. No bitterness, just distance that had settled deep over time. Publicly, Tom never spoke about her again. Privately, insiders said he continued to cover her schooling and healthcare, making sure she had what she needed. But even with more than a decade gone by, there were still no photos, no reported visits, no moments captured between them. The man who could shut down an entire city with a single movie premiere somehow couldn't rebuild a bridge to his youngest child. It was like two different worlds had drifted to opposite ends of the universe. Then came the shift. A new name, a new direction, and a new chapter that belonged completely to her. By 2021, she wasn't just the daughter of actors anymore. She was building her own lane with real confidence. She got into New York's legendary LaGuardia High School of Music, Art, and Performing Arts, the same school that inspired the movie Fame. She sang, she acted, she directed short films with her classmates, and she started shaping her own creative voice in ways nobody expected. And then came the moment that said more than any interview ever could. During her senior year musical, when the program for the Addams Family dropped, people noticed something huge. Her name wasn't listed as Surrey Cruz anymore. It read Surrey Noel.
carrying her mother's middle name with pride.
This wasn't just a cute stage name switch. This was a statement, a quiet but powerful announcement that she was stepping into her own identity, her own future, her own world. It showed a young woman choosing who she wanted to be, without the weight of old headlines hanging over her. And when she graduated in June 2024, that same name, Suri Noel, appeared loud and clear on the official list. It marked the end of one chapter and the start of something brand new. Tom wasn't there for the ceremony, and that absence spoke louder than any headline ever could. He was thousands of miles away, spotted smiling at a Taylor Swift concert in London. And for longtime fans who remembered the proud father from 2006, that contrast hit hard. Meanwhile, Katie was right there in New York, sitting among the other parents, clapping through tears as she watched her daughter step into adulthood with her own strength and style. She had raised her child without Hollywood's armor, without a powerful machine backing her, and without a father beside them. Just steady love, quiet courage, and grit that never cracked. Later that summer, Suri headed to Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh to major in fashion. Katie helped her move onto campus, carrying boxes with her own hands, doing the whole freshman dorm routine like any regular parent. No bodyguards, no flashing cameras, just a mother and daughter trying to create a normal memory in a life that had almost never been normal. By fall, Katie was back to work, directing a new film called Happy Hours, reuniting with her former Dawson Creek's co-star, Joshua Jackson. During filming in 2025, Suri visited the set. Now 19, standing tall in khaki pants, a white tank top, red sneakers, and a calm presence shaped by years of choosing silence over spectacle. Most people didn't even recognize her. She moved differently now, steady, grounded, and confident, like someone who had finally claimed her own lane. And the message was unmistakable. She wasn't living life as Tom Cruise's daughter anymore. She was Suri Noel, and her freedom wasn't a rumor. It was real, visible, and earned. Then came a moment that broke hearts all across social media. In October 2025, she was spotted in New York sitting on a doorstep, head in her hands, looking drained and deep in thought. Minutes later, Katie pulled up in an Uber, sat beside her, and gently comforted her. They talked quietly, then walked off to grab pastries, just a simple moment between a mother and daughter. But for anyone who knew their history, it felt like a powerful reminder of how tightly they've held on to each other ever since their world changed forever. Now 19, Suri is a college sophomore, studying fashion, writing her own music, and figuring out the kind of future she wants to build for herself. Her connection with her father remains distant. He still covers her school and health expenses, but the two haven't been photographed together or spoken publicly in more than a decade. Their lives have drifted into two completely different universes. Meanwhile, Tom continues reaching new heights in his career, literally. He's preparing to film scenes in outer space with NASA and SpaceX, pushing the boundaries of filmmaking the same way he's pushed stunts for years. The man who conquered Hollywood now aims to break Earth's limits, yet the distance between him and his youngest child may be the one challenge he can't overcome. People close to the family say Katie refuses to let bitterness take over. Instead, she focuses on gratitude, growth, and the life she's built. She calls Suri an incredible person and says her greatest pride is watching her daughter's strength and independence grow stronger every year. Yet even with her new name and her new direction, Suri Noel still carries a story shaped by love, pressure, and the quiet reality of growing up near fame's edge. For 19 years, the world has watched her life unfold like a movie with missing pages, a legendary actor delivering blockbuster performances, and a daughter who stepped out of his shadow with calm determination and her own kind of strength. And now, as Suri Noel builds her own world, the biggest question still hangs in the air. Will she ever let her father back into her life? Or has the space between them stretched too far to close? Can time heal what silence created? Or are some divides simply too deep to cross?
Tell me what you think, because this chapter isn't finished yet. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button if this story hit you in the heart. And don't forget to subscribe and share for more untold Hollywood stories right here on Velvet Screen Secrets.